My name is Børge Obel, and I'm the Center Director for the Interdisciplinary Center for Organizational Architecture here at Aarhus University. Mm-hmm. The center is created to do analysis on designing organizations, broadly defined in the sense that we are interested in anything that can be designed. That can be the organizational structure, it can be the governance structure, it can be incentives, it can be the quality systems, and it could be IT systems. So we are very interested in aligning the various parts of the organization to create a better performance.
And which do you believe are the main challenges organizations face today in performance management?
The challenges the organizations face are that in many situations you have more than one performance measure that you have to align to. I can give you an example. One of the big projects that the ICOA Center is working on is the redesign of the acute medical departments in the hospitals in Denmark. And there are many different measures that you have to align your organization to optimize. And basically, the interesting thing here is that it is changed from, I would say, a narrow focus on optimizing the particular treatment to optimizing the complete workflow of patients. And that means you need performance on indicators on the flow, the particular treatment, the consumer or the patient satisfaction, the economic performance, and that has had the effect that you have to recreate the information systems, the performance measuring systems, and also you would like to optimize the flow for the particular patient. That means that you need different kind of data. You need to have data on the logistics of the activities in the hospital, and it has to be aligned with patient records. So that is an example of a changed focus, for example, from the politicians to be on the complete package for the patient, both within the hospital and outside the hospital, have created new challenges for getting the right data, to analyze the data in new ways, to be able to look at the performance and optimize the performance in a multi-dimensional system.
Maybe from your experience or your research, which companies or maybe functional areas or industries would you recommend to be looked at due to their particular approach to performance management and their results?
I think one of the cases that Andy Neely just presented is the Danish company Vestas. It's a wind turbine company, and I think they are a good example of some of the big changes that are happening. And that is that maintenance and service are now an integrated part of production. And many companies are extending their business model not only to produce products, but also to do maintenance and service in the longer run. And the interesting part now is that in many products you have data collection devices which allow to optimize the product, not only in the particular product, but also the product related to service and maintenance. And for Vestas, increasing part of the revenue comes from the maintenance part. And as far as I understand their business model, is that they are not selling the peak performance of a wind turbine anymore, but the actual performance. And that means that you have to measure performance and manage performance of the particular wind turbine 24/7. And they have bought meteorological data from all over the world. They are able to adjust the wind turbine, the wings and maintenance and everything to optimize. And they have and that's an example where you really should look into performance management. It is the integration of the service and the production. Another interesting example is the Danish tennis player Caroline Wozniacki will play in the Wimbledon later today. Yeah. And her opponent will play with a new racket that has a sensor system built in, so every movement of the racket is recorded, and it has algorithms and can actually measure the performance of the tennis player for providing data, so they can optimize the next play, the next game.
About this, what do you think about this emerging trend of performance measurement in your personal life, like calorie trackers, I don't know, wristbands that tell your heart rate, your sleep schedule? What's your view on it?
First of all, I'm fascinated, and I'm sort of a little bit scared. I know, in the sense that it's fascinating. You can do so many things, that also what's happening in your home, that you have all kinds of measuring system of the water, the electricity. You have your smart TV that can sort of actually measure what you are watching and when and how. So that's fascinating. On the other side, we have to be very careful that you're not intruding into the private life of, and I think there'll be, if we go too far, I think there'll be repercussions in many ways. So I think we have to have a fine balance, and the interesting thing here, which also was addressed by Andy Neely in the presentation here, is that you may be able to measure some kind of performance that you're not going to use, because you may get knowledge that you shouldn't use, and this from an ethical point of view. So I think with the availability of data and our now tools to analyze the data, you have to have a very strong ethical value set. Otherwise, it's going to be critical for you. And I think if a company does not use the data that it can get in the right way within the right value system, I think the customers will penalize those companies.
Speaking of emerging trends, what would you, in your opinion, what do you believe are the key trends in performance management for the year 2014?
I think there are two trends, and they will apply to performance managers as well. One is the big data, and the other one is sustainability. And they go in some way nicely together, and I think they'll have an effect on the business model, the way we work, what we do, and of course, in that sense, it will also have an effect on performance management and performance measurement.
If you were to give 3 pieces of advice to a company on how to manage their performance, what advice would you give?
First of all, you should have this very nice combination of making decisions based on facts and also on a new type of business models. Then I think you need, and also use performance management and measurement, you need to manage your people. the key to good company performance is to be able to manage your people right. And the interesting thing here is that with the way data operates, the way we now virtually can service customers and maintenance and so on, the competition for the right people are very important, because there's no limit, there's no boundaries to where you can employ people and also where you can lose your people. I don't know if there was three, but at least two important ones.
How can an organization ensure that it has an efficient approach to performance management? Like doing it right, what do you think it takes?
I think it takes top management decision, because if you have to have the right performance management systems, it has to be aligned throughout the organization. And also it has to be related to things that are taking place inside the organization and outside. Another trend that you'll see is that a lot of activities and a lot of people that's actually working for a company is not employed by the company, and it's not done by the company. So insourcing, outsourcing, both of people and activities requires new ways of looking at performance management. And if you want to do that, you should measure the whole system and not only the part that you can control.
Based on your academic activity and maybe your research, could you please tell me, what do you believe are future trends or tracks in performance management that should be researched, maybe?
I think there are two. One is that how can you get your performance measurement to be sort of real time and not historic. Mm-hmm. A lot of performance management is you'll tell what happened some time ago. In our hospital system, we are actually looking into getting performance results so it can be used in deciding what to do within the next 2 or 3 hours. So you can see where there are bottlenecks, where there are suddenly inflow, that you can predict what's going to happen in the system 2 or 3 hours later, so you can be able to get the right resources at the right time. And that's very important in the emergency medicine department. So I think to be able to take the performance measurement and have them available as quickly as possible, so you can use them in the short-term decision. So I think that is, and that's a future, and that creates the necessity of concurrent analytics and algorithms to estimate what you should do with the data. So those are some of the trends, I think. The problem that we have seen, we just did a white paper on big data, is that there will be a significant need for educating people that both have the analytic skills to work with big data and concurrent analytics, and also understand the business modeling. So these two issues can be bridged.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.